Welcome to Retiring Right. Mike has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Mike Reese of Centennial Advisors will help you learn about strategies for creating income in retirement, managing your wealth, and minimizing taxes. You're watching Retiring Right.
Welcome into our show. Happy to be here once again with Mike Reese. How are you, Mike?
Oh, I'm doing great today. Always good to see you, Amy.
Okay, we are talking about mistakes that people make with their money. Let's set the scene for our viewers here. First of all, what's one big thing that could ruin your retirement? Making a costly money mistake. But the good news is you can learn ways to help avoid them. Today, Mike is here to show us how to help preserve our savings, avoid big money mistakes, and help keep your retirement on track. And so, Mike, let's just get right into this. I think everybody always wants to know, we're all ears, what's the one big mistake that people make with their money in retirement?
Oh my gosh. Number one mistake, over and over and over again. Too much risk, being greedy, too much money in the market. It's all the same thing. It's like chasing returns. And we have to remember, Amy, when you're in retirement, you're not in your 30s anymore, right? You don't have the same time on your side to make up for losses. And this is a fun little thing you can do at home. This is a great little illustration. So if you're the kind of person who's like, oh, I want to take a bunch of risk. I want those 30% returns. I mean, here's the deal. When it comes to your retirement, remember this. A boring portfolio supports an exciting retirement.
It's a bumper sticker right there.
I say this all the time. A boring portfolio supports an exciting retirement. But here's what happens. And this is fun. If you're at home, take out a tape measure, right? Okay. Pull it out to 90 inches. And then lock it. So each inch represents a year in your life. So let's say you're going to live to 90. Stand by the 25-inch or 30-inch mark on that tape measure, and then look all the way out to the end. It's a long way. And when you're in your 20s, your 30s, you've got a long time to invest your money. So your time horizon's really long. You've got time to make mistakes. You have time for the markets to pull back and to make up for losses. Now go stand by the 65-inch mark. Now look at how much time you have left. And then you very quickly realize, holy cow, if I have a big loss in the markets, I don't have time to make up those losses like I did when I was younger. So number one mistake, watch out for those taking too much risk in the markets.
I love that analogy. Why, in your opinion, and your teams, why do you think people make these mistakes? And I know you've just kind of teed us up with the big number one, but lots of mistakes are made during retirement.
Oh yeah, well, when it comes to, why do they make the mistake of too much risk? And a lot of it is, think about this, it's inertia, right? It's inertia. So Amy, when you are working, where's your money going? It's going in a 401k. And you are just sitting there and you're investing for growth. And you just want to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you are interested in investing, you're reading, investing newsletters, or maybe you're on YouTube and checking out investment thoughts. And it's all about grow, 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 grow. That's everything you see out there. And so you're kind of conditioned mentally to just focus on all that growth. And nobody seems to talk about the downsides. There's always with return, there's always risk. And, that I think gets into people's minds, and that inertia, you just get in that mindset. And I think you have to recognize that, hey, when you get closer to retirement, the game changes and your goals in retirement need to be different. You need to start scaling things back a little bit. You need to be more thoughtful about what you're doing. And of course, as I always say, planning it's probably more important in retirement than at any other time of your life.
Okay, well, what about this? I've heard people say one way to cut expenses is I'm just going to spend less, and that's going to help my money last longer, all the way out to that 90 mark that you've placed with our tape measure.
Just spend less, right? Yeah,
Easy?
That's exactly what I want to do, Amy. This is what I really want to do. I want to work my whole life and sacrifice and save money my whole life just so I can get to retirement and then basically be a hermit and do nothing, right? That's what I wanted. No, that's backwards. That's the opposite of what we want to do. We do not want to retire into a lifestyle of basically sitting around the house and watching Oprah all day. Except I don't think she's on anymore.
She's off, yeah.
But anyway,
I get
you know what I mean? Retirement should be the best time of your life. This is the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This is the time that, I mean, you've worked your whole life. You deserve this. You deserve to have part of your life where you get to do what you want to do, when you want to do it. And that's not by, let's just be frugal and spend nothing. Guess what? If you want to go out and travel, that costs money. I don't want you just to travel. For our clients, I tell them all the time, look, when you travel, I want you to be able to go first class. Give yourself those, those little luxuries. It makes all the difference in the world. And guess what? You deserve it. You've worked how many years to get to this point? 30, 40 years? Look, time to cash in the chips and enjoy it. You don't take it with you. And if you don't spend it, your kids will. So enjoy it. You deserve it. You spent the time. Let's focus on what we want, not on making life. Let's make life a little bigger, not smaller.
I'm fired up. Let's keep talking about this. All right, don't go away. Stay with us because coming up, Mike will share some key steps to help keep your savings safe from costly mistakes. And later, he'll take you through what he calls the 3 worlds of money. We'll be right back.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
Welcome back to Retiring Right. Here's a question for you. Are you doing enough to preserve your savings, or is there a hole in your plan? Let's get some answers now from Mike Reese. And it's always interesting to kind of learn people's risk level, how much they're willing to take. What are some of the biggest risks that people take in retirement?
Well, whenever you think about taking risks, of course, you think about, am I investing too much in the market, right? But I want to start somewhere else. One of the biggest risks that people are taking that they just don't really think about is taxes. Because imagine this. So what do we do our whole lives, Amy? We're putting money in our retirement accounts, which are 401ks, 403bs, maybe a 457, IRAs, things like that. And in these accounts, they're full of tax benefits. Like, cool, I get to put money in and not pay any tax. It's pre-tax money. And cool, I get to grow my money tax-free. Ooh, yippee, this is getting great. And then what happens? We get to retirement and suddenly, uh-oh, not cool. I've got to pull money out, and that's when I pay tax. And what people are not thinking about when they're following this path is as they're saving this money in a pre-tax environment, essentially what they're doing is they're growing this huge pot of money. They're hoping that this account is $1 million or more. Great. Congratulations. Where did we end up? We got to a place where we're in retirement with over $1 million, which is great, but it's in this 401k or IRA or 403b, something that's never been taxed. And as you pull money out of that account, you are going to get taxed in multiple ways. Not only do you pay taxes on the money that comes out, which we all know, but you also often pay more tax on Social Security. You pay more tax on dividends and interest. You might end up owing extra premiums on your Medicare called IRMA, which is a fancy phrase for tax. There's all these different impacts in your life from all this money in your 401k. So if you think about what you're doing, you are saving tax on the seed when you put the money in, but you are paying tax on the harvest. For many people in retirement, this is a huge risk. And by the way, Amy, how's our government doing with their fiscal responsibility lately?
Not really well.
Yeah, I mean, they're spending money like drunken sailors, right? They couldn't balance a budget if you put a gun to their head. So the point is that they're spending money like crazy. At some point, I really don't care what's going on right now. At some point, they're going to have to raise taxes. And who's that going to affect? It's going to, every time when they raise taxes, it affects every dollar in your retirement accounts. Huge risk. So that's something we got to watch out for. Here's the other one people don't. They ignore completely. Healthcare. They completely ignore. Here's what they ignore. Medicare covers you in retirement. In fact, you take Medicare plus a nice supplement, that covers pretty much everything you need. What people want to put their heads in the sand about, they want to bury their heads in the sand and not think about it is long-term care. The government tells us if you hit 65, there is a 70% probability, not 17, 70% probability that you're going to need long-term care. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh no, 70% I'm going to end up in a nursing home? That's not what it normally is. It's normally you need care in your home first. Hey, what if you get Alzheimer's? People got to come in and help take care of you. That's not free. Costs money. Medicare does not cover that. And then you get worse. You go to assisted living. Again, not free. Medicare doesn't cover that. So people go broke all the time from long-term care because they don't want to think about it. They don't want to plan for it. So, of course, the stock market is taking too much risk, but there are other areas in retirement you got to be thinking about. Really, really important.
Yeah, there is so much to think about. How do we keep all of this from hurting our retirement overall?
Yeah, so in our office, we, in our planning process, our process is called Retiring Right. And RIGHT is an acronym, RIGHT. Stands for Risk, Income, Growth, Healthcare, and Taxes. These are the 5 areas that you need to focus on in retirement. If you don't cover these bases, you can get into trouble. So how do you make sure you don't fall into one of these traps? You got to work with someone that's their planning process, right? You got to make sure that your advisor, the person you work with, is knowledgeable in these areas. And here's the thing, Amy, when you work with an advisor, it is not your job to call them and say, hey, Joe, advisor, look, I'm wondering about healthcare. Like, what if I need long-term care? Should we talk about that? Or, gosh, I'm worried about taxes. Should we talk about that? Look, you're the client. You're paying the advisor. It's the advisor's job to say, hey, Amy, we've got to look at these areas. Let's make sure we're planning for these areas. If they're not telling you we need to plan, guess what? They're not doing their job, and maybe it's because they don't know how. So, you want to work with an advisor who's knowledgeable and they have planning tools to help you in all 5 of those areas.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but ever too late to fix mistakes that have already been made?
No. It's the only time you really mess all this up is if you, again, just decide you're going to ignore the problem.
Sure.
It's never too late. Now, as my father would say, you can't cry about spilt milk or water under the bridge. It's like, look, here's where we are today. Let's accept it. Let's plan so we move forward in the best way possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike. Coming up next, Mike will help you find ways to navigate the 3 worlds of money. Stay with us. You're watching Retiring Right.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy. But with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a plan to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income plan is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
Welcome back to the show. On this week's Chalk Talk, Mike takes you through the three worlds of money. Mike?
Thanks, Amy. In today's Chalk Talk, we're going to talk about something I like to refer to as the three worlds of money. Now, before we do that, I have a quick story to share. So when I was a kid, I had a paper route, to make money. And when I made money, like half of it would go to the bank, but the other half I could spend however I wanted. And when you're, a young teenager, what do you want to spend money on? Well, of course, you want candy. So I would go to the local IGA store to buy my candy. And what was really important about this little IGA store is they had a little wooden sign on the door when you walked in. And this little sign said the following: low prices, great service, top quality. You're thinking, wow, this is fantastic. I get everything. But then there were three little words below that really taught me a lot about this world. And those three little words were pick any two. In other words, you can pick two of that list, but you never can have all three. Well, the three worlds of money is really all about that. It's about taking a look at the universe of financial tools that you can use in retirement and identifying what are the two of the three that we're going to select. Now, the three things when it comes to the financial space is this: safety of principal, right? Growth and liquidity. And just like that little sign, pick any two. You can have safety, you can have liquidity, but you can't have growth, and so on and so on. So the first world we're going to talk about is the world of safety. We want safety of principal and liquidity. So we're not going to get a lot of growth. In the world of safety, what do we have? We have tools that are safe and they're liquid, but we don't get a lot of growth. So that's going to be things like bank accounts, savings, checking, CDs, money market accounts. It's going to be things like government bonds. These things are safe, but they don't make a big rate of return. That does not mean you should ignore them. They belong in part of your portfolio, but just understand what you're getting. Now, the opposite of the world of safety is the world of risk, or the world of growth. This is the world of growth and liquidity, right? Growth and liquidity. So that means we don't really have safety, right? We got to give up something. This is the world of the stock market. These are going to be stocks and mutual funds and exchange traded funds. It's going to be variable annuities. It's going to be real estate. It's going to be limited partnerships and anything that is designed for growth. But here's a key factor. Here's how you know something's in the world of growth. If you can lose money, it's in the world of growth, right? That's what it is. You can lose money. Now, what do we know about the stock market? We know it's a roller coaster. In good years, you can make 30, 40%. You're on top of the world. But in bad years, guess what? You can also lose 30, 40%, and now you're feeling like, not on top of the world. There is a certain element we need for this world to work for you, and that element is a four-letter word called time. T-I-M-E, time. You need time. Give it time, and the ups and downs tend to kind of cancel each other out, and you get a pretty decent return over time. How much time, how much return, who knows? But that's how it is. Then in the middle, we kind of have our hybrid world. This is the world of typically insured indexed accounts. You can get those at banks or insurance companies. This world, you get some growth and you get some growth and you get some safety. You do have to give up some liquidity, right? But this is where you have safety of principal, but you can link your growth to market indexes. All three of these worlds are legitimate worlds. They all belong in part of your portfolio. It's just a matter of how much goes in which category. And that, my friends, is typically what an advisor does, is help you figure that out. But make sure you're talking to an advisor that can help you in all three of those worlds. So with that, Amy, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Coming up, we'll take your questions about ways to make your money last in retirement. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Retiring Right.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
On the surface, your retirement plan might look solid. With your 401k or IRA, Social Security, investments, and insurance coverage, you appear to have it all covered. But what could you be missing? Below the surface, is your retirement exposed to too much risk? It's time for a deeper dive into your portfolio. We can help you uncover the risk that lies beneath the surface and learn about strategies to help preserve your savings. Get your free risk analysis today.
Now it's time for your questions. Mike Reese is here. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Fired up. Here's one from Bill in Belton. Living without a paycheck feels like a scary thing. Without the money coming from a job, what are some ways to keep my savings from shrinking during retirement?
Oh my goodness.
Valid question.
This is such a great question. Yeah, because he's right. I mean, think of it. You're working your whole life and you've got that paycheck coming and suddenly you retire and, I can't live on Social Security. And all I've got is, for a lot of folks these days, Social Security and their retirement savings. And it's all the money they have, and it has to last. So how do you structure that money in such a way that you can protect those savings and still generate the income you need to be comfortable? In other words, make your money replace that paycheck, make your money work for you instead of you working for it. And in our office, we have a process, we like to call it the virtuous investment cycle. It's essentially what you're doing is you're creating a foundation. You carve out part of your money and you create a foundation. And you take roughly 10 years worth of income, you put it in that foundation, and then you're going to hopefully earn about 5-6%, but you're going to take income from that account, and as long as you're in 5-6%, it'll last probably 15 to 17 years. But while you're taking money from that account, Amy, the rest of the money is in a diversified growth portfolio. And every couple years, as that portfolio has those good returns, as it will do, what do? We want to cycle down some of those earnings and bring them back into your foundation, replenish that foundation so it just lasts and lasts and lasts. We've done it for almost 30 years now. It's not sexy, it's pretty boring, but it works. And as I said before, remember, boring portfolios lead to exciting retirements.
Okay, very good. Next question is from Stephanie in Georgetown. Should I be worried about inflation cutting into my savings, and what can I do about it?
Oh boy, you think I've heard that question a few times the last few years?
People are so much more aware of it now, though, Mike.
It's
at the top of our minds now.
Inflation goes in waves, doesn't it? I remember, back in 1975, my parents bought a house. They had perfect credit. It was a standard mortgage. I'll put 20% down and finance 80%. What do you think their interest rate was on that mortgage back then?
Well, I think it was probably a lot higher than what we have now.
Yeah, try 13%.
I was going to say above 10, above 10, yeah.
Yeah, 13%.
Okay.
I think if mortgage rates were 13% today, people would just have a conniption, is what my mother would say. But the point is, inflation goes in waves. Inflation was very high in the late 70s, especially into the early 80s. Since then, it dropped down. And for a long period, it's like there's no such thing anymore. And then recently it came back, and now it's back down again, and it's like a yo-yo. But here's the thing that people miss in retirement. They get really worried about inflation. Should they worry about inflation? Yes, they should to some degree. But what studies do tell us is that retirement is 3 stages: go-go years, slow-go years, and then no-go years. And what happens in the real world is, in real terms, people spend less money as they get older. So what happens is, spend a lot of money when you're young and you're active, but as we get older, we start slowing down. By the time we're in our 80s, we're spending money just going to the doctor, right? So yes, we need to worry about inflation, but not as much as people probably need to either. I think they worry about it a little more than they need to.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. Here is another question from Edward in Austin asking, I just retired. I feel confident that I've done the best I can with saving, but it's just so tough to be sure. How do I know if I have enough money to last? Get the crystal ball out, Mike.
Yes.
Go get it in the
I
back
actually
room.
have one in my office.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Go grab that. Because
it's murky, it's foggy. The hard part is, tell me how long you're going to live. Tell me exactly what your income needs are going to be, and I can help you figure it all out. But we don't know these things, right? It's always a bit of a roll of the dice. General rule of thumb, whatever income you need from your retirement accounts, multiply that number by 25. That's about how much money you probably need to make sure you don't run out of money. So, hey, you need $40,000 a year from your portfolio, multiply times 25, it's about $1 million. That's kind of the down and dirty math.
Yeah, I mean, math makes sense sometimes.
Yeah.
It didn't back in algebra, but sometimes we have to use it in life, don't we?
We don't like math.
All right. And here's one from Linda in Salado. I'm worried about taxes taking a big chunk of my retirement. Taxes aren't something I've thought a lot about before, but I've heard that they can be a big deal in retirement. What should I be thinking about?
Okay, this is a great question. Here's how tax planning works. You start with understanding where you are today. And to do that, like in our office, we have in our financial software, it runs projections to tell you, hey, if you just do what you're doing now, here's what your taxes are likely going to look like in the future, assuming no changes in the tax code, which I know is kind of silly, but at least it gives you an idea. If you don't like that answer, then you need to utilize different tax strategies. Roth conversions is a very common one. This is where you take some of your money from pre-tax accounts, move it to after-tax accounts. You pay a little tax now, but it helps you, a lot of cases, avoid a ton of tax later on. This is different for everyone. And this is why I always tell people, when you come visit with us, we'll help you figure all that out. We help you actually map out your tax future, and then we take a look at what can be done to reduce taxes over your lifetime.
All of these questions, I can't imagine not having someone alongside me to give me some guidance. So thank you so much. Great insight as always, Mike. If you're ready to create a tax-efficient retirement plan designed to protect your wealth, generate income for life, and leave a lasting legacy, now is the time to connect with the team at Centennial Advisors. For Mike Reese and the entire team, I'm Amy Sharp. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Retiring Right.